Hey guys, welcome back to another React video. We're a little behind on the stream side of it, so we're gonna do two reacts off stream. Try and get that all uploaded for you guys pretty soon, and yeah, let's get straight in. Hope you guys are all doing well as well. I think we're 3 episodes behind, including this one. So let's get right in.
Hello and welcome! Salutations, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to our Ashes of Creation July development update. We hope everyone has been well and safe over the month. As always, it's exciting months for us. A lot. We blink and the month goes by, but we always have so much excitement in the office and hubbub as we're, prepared to showcase all the cool stuff for you guys.
Very exciting. It's been hot actually in San Diego this July.
Yeah, my plants.
Oh no.
Plants.
But it's okay.
Plants are struggle busing.
It's okay. I'm giving them a lot of water and nutrients. Minus the birds trying to eat them, which I didn't even know birds like.
Birds eat plants?
They are attacking my tomato plant leaves. But
oh no.
Yeah. So I bought a little greenhouse and live in it.
That's odd. I wonder what kind of bird is attacking the tomato plant.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the Tulnar are attacking. But as always, we'll just
damn birds.
all of our quick reminders. Today we are going to be showing off some more techie stuff. Y'all said you want to see more, so
techie
we're
stuff.
going to be showing off a tech art tool, and we have a few different people joining from our team who will be discussing that with Steven. And so we'll be playing a video for you all on that.
Yes, very exciting stuff. And by the way, we in the past we've seen as the community responded positively to any technical discussions, and you guys have asked for us to kind of do a little more of that in the future. And so today's that day. We're going to have a very technical discussion.
And if you have questions and stuff, pop them in chat. I know we'll try to answer what we can. I usually try to pull questions as well if they're pertinent to what we're discussing. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. And then, of course, we have a character art update, which includes a race that you haven't really seen much of. So I'm sure you guys will enjoy that. Ooh. And it's one that people have been discussing a lot lately.
Really?
Vagnar and I were chatting about that, so I think it will be exciting for you guys to see.
Oh, that art looks like an axolotl type.
And then, of course, we have our studio update, which will be pretty quick.
That's what it reminds me of.
We'll do our Q&A, which we'll try to answer as many as we can from the forums that were new questions. But as always, if you ask a question that we've already answered, Vagnar is amazing and goes through and answers all of them for you. So, or it gives you the direction of where you can find the answer as well. So, yeah, very cool. So to kick things off, we have our reminders. First and foremost, we have our spotlight question from YouTube, and we do this every stream. So all you have to do is subscribe to us over on YouTube and leave a comment on the video that is our development update. And you could do that for this one as well whenever we upload it. But today's highlight is from Wyatt Parks, and they actually have a question this time. They said, here's a question. As a crafter / artisan, etc., will I be able to give my goods to someone else and pay them to transport it via caravan system or something to market? Or will I have to be the one to do the caravan myself?
That's a very good question, actually. And I don't think we have talked about, since that system has had a little bit of a redesign several months ago. But yes, there is a system-driven way for players to co-op caravan trips. And essentially you have the driver or the owner of the caravan preps the caravan for launch at the caravansary, which is the node building that launches the caravans. And he can make a selection to allow designated players or members of his party excuse me, to reserve space within the caravan, and they may then upload their goods into the caravan at the caravansary by interfacing with the UI there. And there can even be an agreement for insurance should the caravan be destroyed. Let's say you find a driver who's run many successful missions and you're
Mm-hmm.
confident in their ability to deliver, you may not ask for insurance. But if this is a new person
We
who
got
doesn't have
taxes, we got
an established
insurance now.
reputation on the server for being a successful caravan driver, then you can request insurance, and that's an option that the owner of the caravan has to enable. And when you interface with that UI window, there will be the amount of insurance that will be placed in escrow and given to you should the caravan not make it to its destination, or should the caravan's goods be lost. So there is mechanical systems in place to provide that type of interaction. We feel that interaction is good. It's fun. It helps encourage the social interaction that's important to an MMORPG, but also it provides an outlet for players who may not wish to actually drive a caravan or launch a caravan or own a good caravan to transport their
Mm-hmm.
goods, to kind of piggyback with other players as they do those things as well.
So, Stephen, have you paid your caravan insurance? Because
Have
I'm here to collect.
I didn't lose a caravan. I don't have to make good on that payment.
I'm just,
I'm good.
I'm just imagining all the memes. Of course, and that is from Wyatt Parks. Thank you, Wyatt, for being a subscriber over on our YouTube channel. We super duper appreciate it, and we look forward to the
It's going to be interesting for PvP, actually.
comments that will be coming our way from this update. And of course, we have our reminder that our
What is
Thunder
that? A little, like,
Update
war turtle?
Cosmetics will be swapping over August 10th at 11 a.m. Pacific.
Oh, look at the little turtle dude.
I
And like his
know, he's got a
tail and his
telescope.
little mouth. Look at that. It looks like a baby turtle, but actually it's big.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm. It looks big. And
so,
that wolf over there?
It would be interesting to see a little baby turtle.
It's got that
And a
husky
reminder that all of these
look.
variants,
Yeah.
all the variants that are made from these, you'll see in-game as NPCs, creatures, buildings.
got potions, got a
etc.,
sword
which
on
is
there.
Really very exciting for us. You're helping us build the world of Vera. And we also have our latest dev discussion up, which is about world map discovery. We'd like to know, would you like to see a traditional map, world or MMO world map that once explored updates with the ever-changing state of the world, or would you prefer to see more innovative ways of keeping maps up to date? And y'all have already provided a ton of feedback, but we would love to see some more. So if you haven't headed over to our forums,
I wouldn't
please do
mind
so.
more
Of course,
modernized
our next topic
map discovery.
will be regarding tank participation, and I'm sure you
Says
all
that
will
traditional, old school.
tons of feedback for us on that. So prepare yourself.
And it's been a lively discussion on the design team as well, actually.
That's why we have it as a dev discussion.
I know, yeah. It's going to be exciting to see what people think about that.
Steven's like, let's see if you guys agree with me.
No, we cannot load. We shouldn't load the question. Nobody knows who stands where.
I know. I'm not saying what you think. I'm just saying
okay,
like
good, very
it's
good.
it'll be interesting to see if people's ideas or thoughts coincide with what you guys as a development team think. And of course, for those of you who are content creators, you're always asking us, where you can apply. We haven't started invitation phase yet, but we are accepting applications. So if you head on over to our website or even our support page and you type in, content creator program, it'll come up with a link where you can apply for part of that.
I should look
Very
into that.
exciting. And without further ado, we are ready
Honestly.
to head into our tech art tool discussion. Do you want to preface this first video
Yes.
and then we'll...
I would love to. So, what we're going to see first here is a very brief preview, a sneak peek at the desert zones in Alpha 2. And,
Okay.
we don't want to obviously give away all the secrets and show.
Don't want to spoil too much.
That is intended
Makes sense.
for Alpha 2, but you will likely see some interesting buildings that might be indicative of some points of interest, of some dungeons. You might see a little glimpse at a raid boss that lives in the desert. It's really kind of, Tristan Snodgrass, our lead environment artist, did an outstanding job putting together this little video showing you guys what the environment team and the tech art teams have been working on and building as part of the.
They've been pretty amazing.
So big hearts in chat for Tristan. He spent a lot of time on this. He was up late last night getting the final touches put on it, and everybody who participated in it. But I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's going to be a brief showcase, and then after that, we will show a technical discussion about one of our internally created tools from some of our very talented senior technical artists, and how we are developing these internal tools to really help build a giant MMO world like Ashes of Creation,
Mm-hmm.
and create better efficiency in our workflow processes, right? In the pipeline of what goes into making these beautiful environments and these beautiful places in the world. So incredibly impressed always with the talent that our team has, and is constantly showing. And I think you guys are going to be impressed as well.
They're amazing. I mean, we all talk about it every day, but even in the office when you're like eating lunch with someone, it's just great to work with people who are super passionate, because
Mm-hmm.
every time you talk to somebody or ask
True.
them for something, it's
In any
not, like a chore.
environment.
It's like everyone's excited to do it,
Oh,
which I think
yeah.
is great.
Absolutely. No, and it's always so fun to really just see, these dreams that we've talked about, for years now, starting to come to a quality level that's indicative of what players
Yeah, I
are
want
going
to
to
play,
experience.
Steven.
Yes, I know. What do you want me to do? You see me every.
I
We're
know.
working our hearts out. Come on, I don't need to get it from you, Margaret.
I know. I'm just saying.
Give it to him, Margaret.
Just so the players realize, like, we also want this just as badly as you guys.
Yes,
We want to create the game that we all want to play. So just we're bearing with you all as well. But with that, I'm going to play a cinematic video, and then we'll return and we'll chat a little bit, and we'll head into the tool discussion.
Keep an eye out for some interesting things you might discover in this video. What are these structures?
All right, we'll see you in a moment.
Look at him go. It's a big boy. Oh, hello. Hello. That's something new. Oh, that's awesome. Guys, that is awesome. Oh, it even leaves a snail trail. Ooh. Okay, that's different. Wait, it grew legs? Okay. It has fucking legs! Oh, the world looks so beautiful. It gives me that Conan Exile vibe. There's the tower, boys. Been stalked? Look at that little creeper. Beautiful hippos, look at that. Oh, there's the mama. It's gotta be the Ray boss.
All right.
That was absolutely beautiful.
Also, they love this the whispering well,
Yes.
the snorse, as the community has called it. Oh my gosh, the sounds so good. I love it so
Yes,
much.
Kat did a great job.
Yeah.
Tristan,
Great
everybody did
job.
a great job, kind of in this sneak peek. I can see the absolute excitement from the community, just dying to get into this game.
Ah!
But just to give you guys context, next video we're going to show is about 20 minutes long, and it's going to talk about some of the tech that's been internally developed to work in concert with Unreal Engine and
Mm.
helps remove some of the workflow barriers that typically exist as part of the process of making these virtual worlds. And our tech art team has done a phenomenal job um, in helping create tools that our artists can use to essentially keep that creative process within the engine as much as possible. So you're going to hear a lot of technical jargon and words perhaps that might be a little foreign. We'll do our best to try to clear some of that stuff up after the video. But I think you guys are going to enjoy watching, what goes into making such
Mm-hmm.
environments like this. What goes into making the world of Vera.
Right. We'll see you on the flip side.
All
Hello,
right.
everyone, and welcome to another live stream day. Very excited to be with you. We have a little bit of a different demonstration to show you all today. We've in the past we've shown kind of tech that we're using to help build the world of Vera, and today I am joined by three of our extremely talented senior technical artists on the team. I am joined by John, Bruno, and Alan. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Bruno.
Hey, good, Steven.
Doing well.
Show me more.
Now, you guys have been working on something for the past little while that is actually is very excited. And as I understand it, Alan, this was something that you began to think about as a tool that our artists could use in the studio to help with the development of a world like ours, as big as
Unreal.
ours,
Just
an
Unreal
MMO.
Engine's just
That
incredible.
of course is a difficult world to build amongst the games that are out there. Tell me a little bit about where this
I
idea
keep
came
saying it, and
from
I
for our
keep saying
world.
it every time.
Hello. Yeah, sure. So I was in the studio, um, just
Beautiful cactus.
trying to figure out a way to kind of speed up my process, other artists' process of creating, art essentially, and then I know essentially how big our world is going to be.
Yeah.
So, I really wanted to kind of think about that as well as my
Not
constraints.
only is it going to be big,
And so
like,
it kind of just
as the
dawned
years
on
go
me
by, it's gonna
as I was
it's
working
gonna get bigger
through
and
building
bigger.
art for us, about this idea I had, which is landform, which, thankful, hats off to Bruno for, the name. I think it's fantastic. It's awesome.
I like it too. It's perfectly apt for what it does too.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
And so I was just trying to think of, those ideas, and so I was like just trying to think of like the awesome programs or the softwares that I use, and how can I speed up that flow.
Right.
So
And tell me a little bit about the flow, right? John, Bruno, Alan, you guys have been working for a long time in this industry.
Mm.
You've built a lot of games, and I think you guys even have
That
some
mount
MMO experience. Some of you in the past. I
has
think,
just
Alan, you worked
completely
on New World,
just caught my
your
eye.
last project, correct?
yep.
Yeah.
It's
And
beautiful.
tell me a little bit about what that workflow actually is on other projects that you guys have worked on.
So with other projects I worked on, essentially you would build your asset, your model essentially in a third party application like Maya or something, and then you would actually start going in and start detailing it up like in programs like ZBrush, or what other programs that you want to use, and then go in and start texturing after you UV it. And so then
Look
you
at
can
that.
jump into like Quixel Mixer or Substance Painter, or if you're even trying to do like a tileable or something like that, you go into Designer and make that. So you're going to a lot of these different programs, and you're spending your time doing those processes to create your art. But
Right,
essentially,
and each time you kind of move to a different middleware program, that's an interruption in the workflow,
Just
right?
love the
yeah,
artists.
yeah,
It's,
So like as I'm building
so
something,
amazing.
I'm, artists have like this rhythm, it's like this flow that we get into that kind of just help create this thing that we're making, and for me, it's like as I'm building something, I'm in this flow, and it's like I'm getting in
You're
this
in that
rhythm.
zone, mate.
If I
Yep.
have to separate and go to another application, I'm starting to do like really technical work. I start that idea that flow kind of like dissipates. It kind of gets more
You got the tombs to
softer
explore
and
there.
vague. And then before you know, it's like out in the mist, and it's really hard to grab it and then bring it back into vision when you're going through all these applications.
Hmm.
So this workflow allows us to essentially speed that up, and so that's what I was looking through in my ideas and stuff about like, how can we stay in an engine, build a material, a process as well that allows us to create art, but really get the high fidelity that we're looking for, and as well speed, right? Iteration, like we just
Right.
talked about, for like, you know, hey, does this look good? Oh no, that looks great, but what about this? And you're like, oh yeah, let's change that up. And then before you know it, you're like, okay, and then you have to go back, and you're out of that application or
Right.
out of the engine into another application, and then it just goes through this big long process. So if you can do that and build it inside the world that you're making, then that flow, like really that rhythm starts to come a lot easier. And before you know it, if you come to me, Steve, and you're like, hey, Alan, I want this cliff
Hmm.
to be a little bit higher, I would have to get out of the application or the engine and into my application and do that. But now with this tool that we're making and this process that we have really defined, now we don't have to do that.
It saves them
Well,
extra
talk to me a little bit
steps.
about
The faster.
what made this possible with Unreal Engine 5, our migration over to UE5, as
Hmm.
opposed to previously with UE4.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is something that
So for those that don't know, they were previously with Unreal Engine 4 from the start, and they made the best decision ever into switching to Unreal Engine 5. It's just so much better. Everything's so much faster. Obviously, it's up to date tech as well. So it's just the best move they could have ever made for the game.
of course became available quite recently with geometry scripting within UE5, and that's basically like the tool set that we're using to create landform. So that's actually something that's like really really fresh and new and like cutting edge technology kind of thing. So before, of course, you could like Alan said, we could do this outside of Unreal and go to external programs and stuff like that. But of course, we
I just
wanted
wanted to explore it.
to keep
I
that
just want
flow
to.
going, and we wanted to keep the artist
It's not the game.
really connected with the asset that they are working with. So yeah, we use this like fresh new tools from UE5 to create landform, and yeah, we're the tool is here now, and it's been amazing to work with it, and yeah, just having a really good time seeing it.
Yeah, it's been exciting, kind of seeing our artists react to this tool's availability now as
Hmm.
part of their workflow, and kind of replacing, as you guys described, that external sculpting software like ZBrush or or Maya, and creating really higher resolution geometry to bake it down in this making it usable essentially in the game, in the
Yep.
actual engine itself. John, talk to me a little bit about how this has impacted the team's workflow, and where it's really viable for an MMORPG like ours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so one of the things that makes it really viable for an MMORPG in this case is the performance side of it. So I remember I was mentioning something earlier about how like I've been wanting to work on an MMO since I was 8 years old, but
Wow.
once I became an adult and became a 3D artist, I realized I wanted to work on an MMO, but I didn't want to be an artist on an MMO because of the limitations. Now,
Mm.
one of the things that our tool does here is it allows us to grab that higher fidelity, not just in the textures, but the actual geometry. So you see the silhouettes of all of the details that you might go and play your favorite MMO that you've been playing for 15 years and everything's all
Yep.
flat, There's no bumps, there's no ridges or anything like that. But then now here we are trying to bring in that extra dimension, essentially. And
Absolutely.
right before, joining Intrepid, I spent some time in film and doing a lot of, that film level scenery.
Mm.
And I wanted to bring that into the game, and I didn't think that was possible until we started really working on this. And then so Alan's got his ideas that he's putting forth, and Bruno is building these tools here that's actually making it possible. And then
Mm-hmm.
one of the main things I'm doing over here is making sure that it's optimized and we're reaching that level of performance
I do
that
like
is
that skull
still
there.
going to be able to run on an MMO.
Right.
I've got a lot of friends that want to play this MMO so badly,
Don't
but
we all?
they're still
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
they're still running their 10
I
series
think
graphics
the whole
cards.
family
They
will
haven't been able to
definitely play
either
this.
find their RTXs or afford them even, because they got really expensive there. And so for me, it's really important that we reach that fidelity, but we do it in a way where those people can still play it, because
Right.
when every time you try to increase the fidelity in a game, you run the risk of alienating a part of your potential player base.
Right.
Yep.
And for me, the most important thing, yeah, I want it to look good, but I also don't want to alienate any of these people that want to enter the world of Vera and be
Absolutely.
part of our community.
Yeah, I mean, we've all played MMOs, right? We're all MMO gamers. I remember, we've talked about the kind of games that we played, and one of the
A
biggest
lot.
components of a fun experience in an MMO is having a very high population, having a lot of people around you, and the
Mm-hmm.
more that are capable of playing an MMO that's in Unreal Engine 5,
Ooh.
which this type of tool allows us
What do we
to,
got here?
as you just described, make this a viable application on lower end spec machines. And that is really alleviating a barrier to entry that a lot of newer generation games have, that we're trying to lower. So tell me a little bit about what we're seeing here with this modeling. You guys are watching some of these demonstrations of the manipulation of the tool actually in the engine itself. Talk to me a little bit about what we're looking at.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Anybody?
we can jump into looking at the tool here, and essentially what we're doing is we're taking a lot of if we have any 3D artists or game developers out there watching today, we're taking a lot of that external painting aspect and bringing it into
Look at the detail. It's so
the engine.
awesome.
We're not using Painter, we're not using Mixer for this, but both of those were inspirations on what we're doing here.
Absolutely.
And just the end result is going to be that we're essentially displacing this texture into actual geometry. But I'll let Alan jump in and talk a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Sure. Sure. So I think that one of the things that was big for me is the UX part of this, right? Is bringing the user experience of how these programs work within Unreal. So what we're looking at is essentially me painting texture sets on this model that allows us to basically duplicate how Painter would be or Mixer essentially. But now we're able to do that within Unreal, and I'm able to use Megascan's assets, they're tileables essentially, and I'm able to paint layers on this, which are what we're looking at right here, and then you have a way to blend between the height, so in and out. There's a lot of dynamic masking going on, and all this is basically allows the artist to create the thing that they want to in engine, which is fantastic. And right now what you're looking at is I was able to sculpt inside of Unreal, push in the inside. Before I'd have to go to like ZBrush, And then, with the tool, I'm able to get the things I need to bake out, and I'm being a little, descriptive there, so we can hide a little bit of our secrets,
Game artist
as
top.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm
Trade
able to
secrets.
displace it, and then I can keep on using Unreal's tools to keep on refining my process, in the mesh and the asset, and any time through this. And the big part of this, and Bruno can talk about that, and even John, is that this is a non-destructive workflow. And that was really important to us, because this allows me to be free of that. I don't have to worry about, oh shoot, did I do the wrong thing? Am I
Iteration is
yeah,
king.
right,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
So this just allows us to move forward and then also move back without any hiccups, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, Bruno,
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I can comment on it real quick. But basically, what Alan's saying is that you can always go back to your original meshes and to your original assets and redo the process or create an entire new mesh based on that same starting point. And it's always going to be there for you. It's not like basically this is what a non-destructive workflow is. You can always go back and undo or start again from scratch if you want to do another iteration of it. It's just really powerful. It gets gets the artist like more relaxed about like, oh, I'm not gonna break anything.
It's so mind blowing how
So
much
it's like,
love
only
and
break things because you can always go back.
time work they put into it.
And John, you were talking about, iteration is king, and boy is that true, especially on an MMORPG, where let's say designers might come to you and want this cliff face to be looking a little bit different for the needs of their quest, or the pathing that they might want to have a certain monster take around a particular POI or some statue like this, right? And you guys have, with the ease of this tool, the ability to make those iterations actually an engine.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things here, going through and, painting on something and, sculpting on it and trying to get all those details in, you spend a lot of time doing that. And in traditional workflows where you do it in external
I wonder who
sculpting
that is.
software and things like that, it was a headache when somebody would come to you and want some kind of iteration, but that's the reality of the industry. It's all about iteration. The first version is never the version that makes it in. And if anybody tells you it is, then they're lying to you.
Absolutely.
So it's like one of the things I always tell my students that I mentor is that, the key to being a 3D artist in this industry is you cannot get married to your work. You have to.
You know what? That's
Absolutely.
so funny, John, that you say that, because at the start of every design meeting, I make each of our designers go through and say, I am not my design, and my design is not me.
This is my asset. There are many like it. But
There are
this
many-
is mine.
This one's mine.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. There's the iteration side of it, but then there's also
Wow.
The variation side of it. And one of the things that I personally wanted to use this tool to approach was variations. So, like, one of the things we can do with it is we can take an asset that's essentially built clean, and then we can go in and we can use the landform tool to essentially create a duplicate of that asset, go in and start doing sculpting on it. We can add these extra details, we can add damage, we can add buildup of some kind of gunk or something like that, save that out, and then set that aside as variant A. Then we can go back in, grab the asset again, start over, paint it a completely different way, create another variant of it. So we could
And boy, is that important for an MMO, where
Yeah.
reusability
Absolutely.
is
Exactly.
key in managing this giant world we have to
Yeah.
make.
Yeah, and so let's say that you have a hall of statues, like 10 statues on either side. In traditional games, you walk through there and you see 10 repeating statues on each side, 20 repeated statues. Now, you could go in and you could sculpt in all kind of damage detail to create variants, but a problem that you run into on the performance side is that now you're adding a lot of resource overhead, and then that tanks things down. Your frames per second goes down.
Some
all of
engineer
that.
comes screaming at you down the
Yeah, or
hallway.
the tech artist, the tech artist starts like shooting you with a Nerf gun and
Yeah.
giving you the. But what we can do here is we can have an artist sculpt out something beautiful, and then we get it into the engine. They sculpt that beautiful statue, and then you take that statue and you can create even 19 more variants of it, right?
Quickly.
And you can go through and you can use the tool to paint it in a different way to create damage in different places, and then have those all lined up. But every single one of those is using the same set of textures, tileable textures and everything, that were used to use the tool on it. And so traditionally you couldn't do this because you would have to have 20 different bespoke texture sets, and now you have one that is used across all 20 of those statues, but they still look different because of the extra detail that we're adding for the variation. So iterations and variations, I think, are the key component here.
I think the other thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, if I can add to that a little bit, there's a big aspect of this tool that is like the procedural workflow that we're using here. But I just wanted to comment real quick that even though yes we're using like all of this like procedural techniques in it, it still gives the artist all of the power. So there's still someone curating that procedural workflow, right? So it's not like we're pressing a button and generate statue. There's someone still going in there and painting that detail and adding that detail where it needs to be, right?
There's an artist behind every part of it.
Yeah, it's all curated.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what I was going to mention too. Is that it's basically procedural with hand-painted work. So you're able to get a best of both two worlds. Get something that's done very quickly because it's procedural, and then have the artist control that and paint out what they want to see.
Absolutely phenomenal. Well, guys, I think I speak for the community when I say that we are incredibly impressed with not just
100%.
the hard work that you're putting forth in helping make Ashes of Creation a reality, but also the way in which you're using your minds to create more efficient workflows so that the task of creating a world as big as Ashes, as big as...
Hello and welcome back. We hope that you all enjoyed a little bit more of a tech-heavy piece. I know there weren't a ton of questions. I had a feeling that there weren't going to be a ton. There are a lot of people asking, who is she?
That's right.
Mom statue lady.
The Sand Mama.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we can't answer that. That's something that you will need to discover in the world.
Yep.
But she does have significance, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Sandal Queen. I like that one too.
Sandal Queen.
But yeah, I thought I would ask it, even though I know we won't be able to give you an answer quite yet, but you'll find out, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's always great to have these technical showcases as well. I know in the past we've done developer diaries, and we want to get around to doing those again. But there's a lot that goes into making an MMORPG, but especially in making a large...
They're the hardest games to make.
And there are not a lot of out-of-the-box tools that help with that process. So it's important that, as a studio, as a development team, that we're conscientious of our workflows, of the pipelines that require us to think outside of the box in making specially curated tools to improve that, to make it scalable, to make it possible within the amount of time we want to build the types of things that we want to do. And a lot of that, for especially the creative realm of game creation, it is about keeping the consistency of that creative workflow in place. And oftentimes some, you know, the middleware software that's available out there is amazing. It is incredibly versatile. There's never going to be a way that you will entirely remove that from, I think, the process, at least not for some time. But where we can mitigate that, at least on an iterative level, that's where it's very fruitful to an artist or to the development team to be able to stay within the engine for those iterative processes, right? Um, and the landform tool is really useful. And in fact, you know, this is, and I know it was said in the discussion, but this is just the early application of that landform tool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more that's planned to make that tool very versatile in its capabilities within the engine. Um, and it's going to be exciting to see it incorporated further in our pipelines. So very impressed by the incredible work that our technical art teams, as well as our art teams in general, are doing to bring Ashes of Creation, the world of Vera, to life. And I know you guys appreciate kind of getting insight under the hood, especially those of you who are amateur developers or who are just getting started in the industry or who might be at other studios. This is also an incredible recruitment tool, so that, you know, one thing that is the lifeblood, I think, of any project out there in game development is the tools. The tools that you have access to help ease, to help scale, to help inform what it is that you're developing. And um, you know, here at this studio, we put tools on a pedestal, right? We want to make sure that we are providing our developers with the tools that they need, and that's why we have very
Mm-hmm.
technical teams that are conscientious of how we can apply the technical art knowledge or the engineering knowledge to facilitate that tools development. And we also want that to be a high point when we prospect new developers to join our team, that they get to see the types of tools that are available when working not only with Unreal Engine 5, which is an incredible engine created by Epic, but also within the the tool sets that we're creating internally as well to interface with Unreal Engine 5. And that's a very important aspect. So happy to share that stuff with you guys, and I hope you guys are excited to see that and learn about it. And it's a fun aspect of making games.
And I think one of the main things that we've been trying to show you guys is like the journey of creating a product, creating a game, you know? I don't
Yes.
think a lot of people get to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting to see not only, you know, the outcome of what is the creation, but the process of creation. And so
Absolutely.
if you want to see more of those things, do let us know.
You know,
But
we all know this because we're all gamers, but
yeah,
games are the future. I mean, the gaming
Future and
market today
entertainment.
is larger than any other form of entertainment combined,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only going to continue to grow as, you know, more and more people get access and familiarity with computers and consoles and whatnot. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's kind of like being on the cutting edge of, you know, the advent of the internet or of computers. Gaming is in and of itself something that is the future, and we're going to see more and more development teams continue to become, you know, worthwhile investments on the gaming side, for us to participate in the development and the journey of. And it's great that you guys. I think it's great that one of the things I love about Ashes is the ability to interface with the community and having that open and transparent development process. Because I just think about how, you know, 15, 20 years ago when I was playing games, you know, at 18 years old, that I didn't, you know, get this type of insight, right?
Same.
I just grabbed the title
Yep.
when it released.
That's right.
Now there's an opportunity to kind of watch the progress, to watch the development, to learn and understand. And I think that's a really cool aspect. Not for everyone, of course, but it is
Mm-hmm.
something that those of us who are interested in have the opportunity to do so now more and more today than we ever did in the past.
yeah, and I think from a developer standpoint, as like a person working at a company, I've worked, you know, at quite a few, and when you don't have the right tools, it can be very frustrating. So, you know, praise Stephen for allowing developers to have the opportunity to spend time to create tools. I think a lot of the times we're, you know, they're like, okay, well, Access is your tool. You have to use that. And you're basically just like pasting spreadsheet data in there, and like you're crossing your fingers hoping stuff doesn't break, right?
Oh,
and
I've heard
that's
the
the
horror
age that
stories.
I've come from is, 16 years ago, it was not this way. Having tools that we can utilize and make processes faster. I think you mentioned being scalable, as we pull more people on, or not needing as many people because you have great tools that do things faster. I think it's just trying to explain that to folks who, maybe don't get to, be in the day-to-day of creating a game or any product.
Absolutely.
All right, with that, unless you have anything else you want to add, Stephen,
No,
we shall move on to our character art update, which, to preface first, we will be showcasing a new race that we haven't really,
Show
we've
me.
shown
Show
some
me
things
now.
on the
Are we showing the
Empyrean
Tulnar?
in the past. No, we're not showing the Tulnar.
okay.
Oh, the Tulnar. We're going to show you
Scared
like
me.
a toe to start with.
A toe?
Yeah. Well,
But I'm going to let you know, the Tulnar looking sick.
oh, they're looking
So
good.
cool. My team is just like losing their mind.
Oh,
But not today.
man.
Not today.
Maybe we
Why'd you
can
get them
just-
all
maybe-
amped up?
I know. Maybe we can just show them the concepts. Maybe we can just show them the concepts. Can you pull that in like live?
Maybe.
You
I
have
could.
that?
I don't have it
can
off the
throw,
top.
I can send it to you right now if you want
Okay.
me to.
I feel like we could do something cooler
Or-
with showing
yeah,
that
that's
off.
true.
I don't know. I
Maybe
feel
we
like
should.
maybe
Oh.
dispersing parts to content
No,
creators
show
and then, like, put the
me.
puzzle together or something. Might be
Oh.
fun.
Do you want to do that, or do we want to show them?
It's okay.
Steven's so excited. I love it.
I'm gonna leave it in your hands. What do you want?
Oh my gosh!
That
don't
way,
do that,
I'm not the
Steven.
bad guy. No. If I choose not to,
Steven's
I'm not-
smart.
It's all you now.
Okay, well, let's start with
He's
what we
planned it
got,
all that.
and
Planned
then
it
we
so
can
quickly.
decide at the end, and I'll let maybe Backner can DM me and tell me. He's like, I wasn't prepared for this. What he thinks in a DM.
Do it live. We're gonna
so
do.
That's it. Do it
first and
live.
foremost, let's
Fuck
show
it.
off the Empyrean.
I'm gonna be
which
in
we
so
have-
much trouble after this, you guys. If you don't see me for a week, call for help. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I work for you, man. You
I
can tell me what you want.
I know.
So here's a look at the Empyrean. We've had a lot of questions about the Empyrean. I've heard a lot
Okay.
of people asking about them. People want to have that more high elven
Mhm.
look. There were some questions in regards to whether the headpiece part is part of them, but I think
Margaret,
that's just
someone just screamed, "Give us the toe."
just
Give
the
us the
toe?
toe.
All right,
No, just kidding.
Bagner, get me an image of the toe.
I'm
We'll
sending
showcase
it.
the
I'm sending
toe.
it right now. But guys, so remember, the important part here is we've always said this that art is always improving. It's always
It's a work in progress.
And part of the art that excuse me, Manny and the character team have been doing has been doing an audit of our character races, and you guys saw this first with the pyre. I think was it first with the pyre or first? No, first was with the
No.
dwarves.
Yeah,
With the junior.
dwarves. Yeah.
Then the pyre. And
I
now
think
you're seeing
Nakua,
the
yeah,
Empyrean.
which, yeah, the
Right.
predators.
Now you're seeing the Empyrean, and these are updates to give some more unique character to each of the individual races, and also to bring them up to a quality level
Mhm.
that is respective of the world we're creating. So you guys see these concept pieces right here, which is the reimagining that Manny's done kind of the Empyrean elves. And you guys will recall when you saw the Pyre concept to the Pyre model, it is very similar. It is almost one-to-one between concept and model. So this gives you a very good idea what these models are going to look like, which we will show you soon. They're almost done, not quite yet. As a matter of fact, Margaret, you threw them on the run of show, but I think I took them off. Because they have just a few other things that they did. The Empyrean models.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
yesterday, the PI meeting,
the
yeah,
models.
or-
Yeah, I had the actual models, but you had me pull them.
They're almost
show
done.
the concept.
Almost done.
Yeah.
Almost done. Yeah, ready.
I always like showing you guys the concept and then what the in-game looks like, because
Mhm.
it's like they look so similar. It's so good. Next, we have shown the Renkai before. You all gave us a lot of feedback on it. We are making a lot of changes to all of the races to make them more unique.
Oh, good.
Each of them having their, like, I mean, you've seen like the building culture and how different each of those are. And Steven's really driving the direction for the art now. So this is kind of the new direction of the Renkai.
Okay.
It's not finished, but yes. And yes, you will be able to still have red skin too. But this is just the green skin showing you that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's going to obviously be a lot of customization options where, you will have some direction on skin pigmentation for the different races. You're not just going to be delegated to green orcs. You're going to have options there where you can customize those things. But this is the recently work in progress touched up.
Okay, they did update them a lot.
Kai, and I love it. I think they're
I
looking
love it.
great.
It matches kind of the vibe they have with all their architecture, like the very swampy, like pagoda style. Like I feel like this feels more like what they should be. I like it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's
Very
cool.
nice.
All right, and of course we will have threads going up for both of these, as well as for our desert biome goodness. So if you do have thoughts on any of these things, please feel free to pop over to our forums and give us some feedback.
By
Next.
the way, just in case you choose to pull that trigger,
Yeah.
on the Tulnar, I've added it to yours, mine, and Rye's DM and Slack, so you have it there.
Oh, Raya's out today. He's
Oh, okay. Sorry. Here, I'll send it directly.
I like that armor.
okay.
Doing
Thank you.
Yep.
I will download that. Okay, so this is the Guise of the Negotiator set. Very, very cool.
Okay. Negotiator.
I love this set. Who worked on this one, by the way?
Believe this was Jeremy for design, but Eli worked on it for the art.
Eli, nice. Yes. Jeremy on the design side and Eli on the modeling side. So I love this set. It's just so, and it's appropriate that it actually lined up with the desert biome.
It did. It was
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
100% lines up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got to see my Whispering Whelk that I designed.
I know. And all of
I thought you were gonna say
its
no the
slimy
first time I
glory.
was putting that together, because I was like, is he gonna think I'm
No.
crazy? I'm putting a
I
horse
love
and a snail
snails.
together. I didn't know that you love snails until after.
I like kit bashing real animals together into a fantasy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's where the Bagora.
They brought it to life, and it's just like, it's when you design something, and then when you see the art, and then the concept, and then the art, and then you get to see it like working, and oh my gosh, makes you cry.
Cool. I like the little shoes on this guy, by the way.
Yeah, the little
The little
pointy.
curl.
Yeah.
So cool. Eli did a great job modeling this.
It's very good, Eli. You killed it. Nailed it. And then, of course, the lovely desert statue that you've all seen in the video, but here's the model of it.
This Desert Mama.
Desert
The
Mama.
Sand Mama.
Yeah, the Sand Mama. Who is this?
Stop teasing me, Steven.
Jinsey worked on this one.
Yes, Jinsey modeled this one.
And then we've got our Lightfoot Leveret.
I'll give a hint. There is some importance to the
Oops.
iconography on her circlet, on her. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I just
Okay.
hit the wrong button.
Okay, there we go. So there is a symbol that is present on the front of her circlet, and there's something relevant there.
Everyone's going to be zooming in and looking.
I know.
All right. And then this is the Lightfoot Leveret, which is, I don't know if I'm
Awesome.
saying
I
that
cannot
right.
wait
I
for the animations.
designed this, but I don't.
I
how to say
can't
it.
wait. for
Plain,
the
simple.
animations.
It looks amazing. So it's
Oh, I
awesome.
know.
It's a big hair.
It's got to hop. It's got to hop and be a fast little rabbit.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love the ears.
Yeah, the ears are great. It'd be cool if you could grab the ears as part of the rider
Oh, like-
animation. Like
Grab
when
the
you
ears.
Sprint, you grab them and pull them, and it's just like you're holding on for dear life.
Instead of having reins, you grab the ears. That'd be cute. Next up, we've got our little farm ducklings.
No, so cute. My heart.
This
Look at
reminds
him,
me of
guys.
the ducklings that John and I had over last summer that all got eaten by those falcons.
Stephen,
Well,
What?
they had
way to bring down
they
the
had
mood.
Well, they had short but sweet lives. It's a
Yeah.
circle
So
of
that's
life.
what happened to the
Yeah.
ducklings he had.
Happens. You know, we looked it up actually afterwards. Only 10% of ducklings born in the wild survive to adulthood.
Doesn't surprise me. I see lots of like peregrine falcons in my backyard, and they just like take babies or
Oh yeah,
mama birds. It's crazy.
We walked outside like the day they were born. There were falcons just circling above. And I totally tried to like steal the ducklings to raise on our own,
Oh,
but John did not allow me to do that. He was like, "You're never at home. You're always at the office. There's no way we're going to be able to care for these things.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to let them be eaten." And it was really difficult. It was hard for me. But
yeah,
In his
sad.
house, but that's nature.
And Stephen did kind of give you a little teaser of the shade duckling on Twitter, if you saw that.
That is awesome.
look at him and his flower.
I like that when you teased it, someone replied and tagged me and was like, "This seems like something Margaret would have done." And I was like, "Yeah, I did."
I love the blue. I love the blue. The blue.
I think it's purple. It's
or
like
whatever.
it's like a purple.
Lavender.
Purplish,
Violet.
bluish, something. It is. It is very soft. It is nice. It's watery, and I love the animation for it.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
here
No, he's going. Look at him.
Jincy did
Whee!
such a good job. So cute.
Oh, I want it.
Screen check on that. That's
Your
purple.
monitor, if it's
My
showing blue for
monitor is
you.
having problems.
It's like a purpley blue, so I could see that if your monitor is a little more blue. It's very cute. And that is that. No, just kidding.
Adorable.
Give me a second, and we will be showing. Are you guys ready for this?
I don't think
Sorry.
they're ready. I don't think they're ready.
Beckner, you're gonna have to
Wait,
put
let's
another
just-
thread together.
Can we just
ASAP.
breathe together first before
Yeah,
we
we
show
can
it?
breathe together.
Let's just breathe for a second.
Show us the
Okay,
toe.
So I want to talk about the Tulnar before we show this,
Okay.
or the Tonar, as
The toner.
Okay. So now remember, the Tulnar had to suffer, some significant amount of time left to themselves as they were essentially left behind during the exodus from Vera. And it wasn't a pretty existence for the first several hundred years. And there was a culmination. Remember the background for the Tulnar. There was a number of minor races and major races that all sought refuge within the underrealm. And we talked about how this particular player character race was going to have a pretty unique approach when it comes to character customization, because with that background, there comes different species influence in the race itself. And we want players to be able to dial up or down those influences as they see fit between the humanoid, the simian or mammalian, and the reptilian influences. And as you dial those things up, your base body, if it exceeds a certain percentage threshold, will assume the form and stance of one of three primary types of influences that exist for the Tulnar. And now what you're going to see is those three distinct influences.
Okay.
And you can be, of course, 100% in one if you wish, and you'll be very similar to what you're going to see. You'll be very similar to what you're going to see here from the concepts. Or you can mix and match, and you can blend between the different influences. So you guys are about to see, and it's been how many years, and we've never actually shown the Tulnar. So,
right.
wow.
I had a big plan for this for the Tulnar
well,
release.
hold on.
so-
Now we can do that. We can do that for the model. This is just
Okay,
the concept.
all right.
So when the models are ready and we do the character customization, that's the big pomp and circumstance. We can show them
Okay.
and whatnot. But here, this is just
I'm showing you more than a toe.
It's just
I'm
an
gonna show you
introduction.
an entire face three faces.
Three
so,
faces.
and this is
The
not
three distinct
the limited,
influences.
yeah, necessarily.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Are you prepared?
Oh my
Take
god!
a deep breath.
I don't know if I'm ready. I can't believe you're making this decision. Oh, it's crazy.
All right, here we go. There we go.
Oh.
I'm waiting.
Ooh.
Oh
I
my
do like the
god.
last one actually. Even the middle one's not too bad.
They have arrived.
They're so
I
cool.
got that
Welcome.
the last
the
one, like that
Tulnar.
lizard dragon type.
They're
You got the
so
line in the middle.
Noble underrealm dwelling race.
Underrealm. They look like
Bring
big
with
boys.
them the history and background of those who came before their ancestors, all from different walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to carry those footsteps forward. Maybe now all the hate for the Tulnar will stop.
Yeah, I think people are going to be changing
we're
their
gonna see
ways.
a 180. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a little bit of a 180.
Yeah, the Tulnar are really cool. So, and this is just concept so far. So, just wait till you see the models. It's madness.
And again, those of you who want to see what the transition from concept to model is going to look like,
Mm-hmm.
a great reference is to take a look at the Pi-Ray concept and what became the Pi-Ray model, because you have those available and you can see how similar.
You can do that with the dwarf for the
Yes,
Dunir and the Nukuin, and those are getting some updates as well, which we'll showcase once Stephen approves those. Obviously, Empyrean as we go forward with those, the Pi-Ray.
Very nice.
And we do have the Kalar and the Valoon as well. So.
Yes. And wait until you see how the blend occurs between these three very distinct and unique racial influences within one race, the Tulnar. I think it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited. All right, with that, we're going to move over to our Q&A, where we're going to try to power through as many of these forum questions as we can. So if you submitted a forum question, thank you so much. We always appreciate you guys doing that. We try to get to as many as we can. First and foremost, our first one here is from George Black, and they want to know about mounts. Will mobs knock back people off their mounts, or will mounted players bypass all mobs easily?
No. There is danger to traversing areas with enemies nearby.
Okay.
And there are specific abilities that knock a rider off of their mount should they venture too close to enemies.
Oh yeah, good point. Someone in chat was like, "Studio update." Oh yeah, do you have any updates on the studio front? I got too excited after the Tulnar.
I just got into the question mind frame. Okay.
Yeah, I went into question mind frame after the Tulnar. Sorry.
Studio updates is relatively short. I mean, we've been, of course, continuing to have incredible results from our recruitment processes. Again, Cameron, Stacy, and the HR team in general have been doing an incredible job in sourcing talent. We have several hundred natural applicants that come in each month. I believe
That's a great mount. I love that.
Hired so far about 8 people, a little bit slower than the beginning of the year or the end of the year. Of course, that's natural when it comes to job searches. I do, however, want to take this moment to note, those of you who are watching and can help spread this word, we did put out a PSA announcement a few days ago on our AOC support Twitter. If you're not,
my light just went out.
Oh, I thought you lost power. I'm like, and there goes the stream. But we did put out
Wi-Fi's being weird, and these are like Wi-Fi lights.
Oh, interesting. To once again state, we did put out a PSA on this. There are some very unfortunate people in this world who take it upon themselves to attempt and scam others. We all sometimes get those spam calls that are pretending to be people they're not. But now it's begun to encroach in on the territory of job recruitments. And there are some people out there on LinkedIn and other platforms that are pretending to be Intrepid Studios recruiters, and they are asking for information that Intrepid Studios would never ask for as part of the job application process. So I want to make sure that those of you who are out there who are looking for jobs, not just within this industry, but any industry, always be cognizant of the information that you share with others. It should never be appropriate that you pay a fee, or you're requested to pay for equipment, or provide social security numbers or identification or copies of passport in order to apply for a job. And one other thing that's very unique to our studio, I think, is that no one ever gets an offer from Intrepid Studios unless you've had either a video chat or an in-person interview with myself. So these people have been pretending to do actual interviews as well.
Full on in interviews, which is just
crazy.
madness. It is crazy.
The lengths that they'll go
So
to.
help us spread that word. It breaks my heart when I see, we've had a couple dozen people who've been affected by this. We did put out that announcement on our Twitter. We are updating our intrepidstudios.com website to reflect some, also that PSA, and it is a part of our knowledge base article.
Yeah,
well.
we put it on our knowledge base article. It's up on Twitter, pinned on our support. We retweeted it. We have it pinned on our LinkedIn. And it is on our Intrepid site, but we're having a little problem with the hyperlinks that the web team is fixing. But it is on there and links to it. So.
And I am going to say, I'll just take this very brief opportunity to say something. If you are one of the people who perpetrates this, whether for our industry or any other industry, or you're part of anything along those lines, just try to remember we all have families, we all have moms, we all have children or brothers or whatever, and now is a very difficult time in our economy. There's other stuff you can be doing with your life than this. So
Yeah.
just think about that.
Be more
That
productive.
these type of people don't care.
Yes. All right, we'll get back to the other questions here.
Robot said we all have toes, including Tulnar.
Well, some people don't have toes. So.
Now they're going to be called Tulnar.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
I was joking. I was like, we just show them a toe or something, Tease, give them a tease. We gave you more than a tease. Next up, we have a question from Zyvan and Magic Man about combat abilities. Considering the recent update we've seen to combat, has the team decided on if there will be a global cooldown or not?
That's a very good question. It was a hot topic several months ago as we've been refactoring. Yes, I think that we've kind of gone back and forth with this. It's something that we're going to be testing as part of Alpha 2 and combat in general, is how we surface these global cooldowns, and whether or not we categorize these GCDs across essentially different types of abilities. So I would look forward to more of our combat demonstrations in Alpha 2 to understand what approaches we're going to take, and then offering feedback as part of those approaches from our testers is going to be very important in that decision.
All right. And our next question is regarding animal husbandry from Ultra Red, and they want to know, will there be a cap on how many times an animal can be bred in animal husbandry?
Yes, there will be a cap, absolutely.
Okay.
That cap is going to be defined by both the type of animal, the quality of that animal, and for what purposes it's being used in the animal husbandry system.
And then we have Unknown One who wants to know about naval content. Will we be able to fly flags on ships such as coats of arms, indicating association to guilds, nodes, or other groups such as pirates?
That is a very interesting question. We actually are not likely going to have it be a flag-based system, but I believe there will be within our sails the opportunity to utilize unique emblems and custom images potentially for players to designate, as well as potentially some locations on the hull for names and
Identification. Yeah.
as a decal.
Right. And then Nick would like to know about combat corruption. We know that party, raid, guild, ally mates can't flag against each other, but what about if one of them is a PKer? In other words, can your guildmate help you remove corruption by killing you? You're like, can I exploit this?
That is a very good question. We've also gone back and forth on that in the past as well. As it stands currently, yes, the affiliation between guilds or citizenships is trumped by the status condition of your corruption, and anybody can kill a corrupt player. But again, that's something that we're going to be testing as part of Alpha 2 as well. There are some different approaches that we can think about for that system and how it interfaces with our affiliation system. But it's important to note that even if you are capable of, let's say, killing your friends, we have very unique systems in place with regards to the bounty hunter systems that locate individuals where they are on the map, and there is always going to be that tense that anxiety, even as you're facilitating the kill from other players, that someone can drop in on you and pick up the items you may drop or kill you themselves.
All right. And then our next question here is from Lineker asking about Alpha 2, primarily because I think a lot of content creators have been talking about this. Will Alpha 2 be feature complete before betas or launch?
Before beta, yes, the game will be feature complete before beta. That is something that is necessary. Beta really is intended to identify last minute bugs, to kind of make sure that everything is ready for launch, and it's important that all features are complete by beta 1. Yes.
But we'll be making updates to Alpha 2 while it's live.
Absolutely.
To get to that point.
Alpha 2 will not be feature complete at the start of Alpha 2. There are going to be updates that are going to be incorporated as part of the Alpha 2 process, and there are going to be additional features that come online that get fleshed out between that time and Beta 1. There's going to be regions of the maps that aren't going to be accessible, of course, during Alpha 2. So that is absolutely an important distinction.
Yeah, and Alpha 2 is kind of like the start of our persistent world, where the servers will be up day and night until.
And the other thing is that
until we go to launch, but we'll have some downtimes in between for patches and stuff, right?
Yeah, and the other thing that's important to note is that Alpha 2 will remain even post-launch as our public test server, and that's an important thing to note as well.
Right. Just wanted to clear things up on that front because there was some extra additional content or context. And then we have our next question from Schwan36, who wants to know about naval ships. Will larger ships, both frigates and galleons, have a minimum capacity requirement in order to be mobile?
Oh.
In order to be mobile, no. You need a captain to drive the ship. In order to be effective, there is a scaling amount of additional personnel that are required on each ship type or class in order to be most effective. And that's
makes sense
based on the size of the ship.
Yes, and we don't have an Alpha 2 day yet. When we are ready, we will let you know. But we have
I see all the Alpha.
I
see all the Alpha 2 wins. Trust us. When we are ready to tell you, we will tell you. We made a commitment several years ago, not to mention dates until we are as close to certain as we can be with those dates actually being hit. And we want to make it that way. Also, we don't want to be rushed in this process. We are a quality first game studio, not a dates first game studio. And what that means is we will take the time that's necessary to ensure the product is ready for those release cadences. And Alpha 2 is a big one. And we need to make sure that Alpha 2 hits all the marks we want it to hit, both from an internal testing perspective, but is also representative of the promises we've made to the community. And as a result of that, we are going to continue working on the product until we feel it is ready. And when we do, that's when you guys will hear it.
Especially since Alpha 2 is when basically we're up for you all to see our game for a long time. So we just want to make sure we're fully ready, and it's going to be a great experience for you all.
Absolutely. This is a marathon, not a race.
Yeah. Our next question is from Fatal Syndicate asking about castle events. When it comes to castle nodes and castle sieges, are the weekly node events and or monthly castle sieges a guarantee? Or is it possibly that a castle siege / castle node event, I think they mean siege event, could have no challenger and therefore not take place at all?
So castle sieges are on a monthly schedule. And
okay, like a monthly rotation.
Will always occur on the monthly schedule. Events and node-based events, those are predicated upon certain world state conditions, right? Certain world conditions being met. So it's not always guaranteed that a node is going to suffer some type of event unless a predicate for that particular event or story arc is met within the world. But castle sieges are on a regular cycle.
Right. And then our next question is from Worth asking about node leveling. When it comes to mayoral construction projects that players can bolster, how long would you say it will take players on average to fill / build up a node completely? So that's, from wilderness to metropolis.
Oh, so the question is node level advancement, or
Yeah.
within the level building all the buildings that that
I
level
mean,
has
I'm
in
sure people will want answers to both of those, Stephen, if you're willing
No,
to
I just want to make
provide.
sure I'm giving the right answer. Okay, so
Hmm.
we've already discussed it. You guys, great resource to utilize is the Ashes of Creation wiki. You should go take a look at that for some of these questions because there's a lot of content there. Even if not all of it is still up to date, it is constantly kept up to date by Lex and his team. So
Yeah.
amazing job to them. Big a little shout out
Thank
to
you,
them.
Lex. Yes, go check out the
Um,
wiki. It's amazing.
Yeah, so when we talk about what's the expected time range for node advancement, um, it ranges from hours from a crossroads perspective to several weeks from a city, excuse me, a city to metropolis perspective. And the reason for that is, of course, these are the dials in which the world advances. So we want it to be something that is both gradual, but also reflects the effort that players have to incorporate as part of getting
Developing the
those next
nodes.
stages.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about what it takes to actually develop a node at a certain stage and the available progression points that that node has access to, whether it's establishing embassies or relationships with the castles or reputation with other nodes so that alliances can form or trade agreements can be utilized and mayoral caravans can be kicked off, or building up certain types of player buildings so that new services can be unlocked, or developing the story arcs out so that there's hooks into the relevant POIs and dungeons nearby. That is a big process. It's one thing to get a node to a certain level. It's another
Mm-hmm.
thing to develop the node. And I can't really give you an on average expectation because there's a lot of variables at play there. There's how many citizens does the node have attracted to it? What's the type of traffic that the node is attracting to it based on things like its tax rates or the
Mm.
specialization that it's chose to spec
Yeah.
into based on the building types it's chosen
Tax
to do.
rates
All of those things are variables
from players.
that can affect the average, quote unquote, average build out time of a particular node. So it's kind of difficult to give you an average when there's so many variables along those lines. But the idea is that if there is a particular project that players are interested in developing based on the node stage, that they would have the ability to complete several of those projects within a single term of a mayor. And a term of a mayor is 1 month. And that's an important heartbeat for the node's progression internally.
All
Yep.
right. Ooh.
Hopefully that answered your question.
I mean, I think people will experience it in game, and obviously,
Oh.
as we go into alphas and betas, we'll be adjusting those timelines, and making sure that we test them and getting a lot of feedback on that stuff as well. So things are subject to change too. From classes, or from about classes, Sonic Explosion's asking, if a martial DPS archetype takes a magical DPS secondary archetype, for example, a night spell, which is a rogue plus a mage, will it scale off of the physical stats, magical stats, or both when it comes to damage and abilities?
That is
I
a
can't
very
say the
good
word.
question, and I want to reserve the answer for that when we do our deeper dive into combat, because that is a particular point of contact or particular point of information that's related to some future demonstrations we have regarding combat that I think is going to be important and people are going to be very interested in. So look forward to when we do deeper dives into the combat, and
Yeah,
that'll be
we'll be
coming
Fair
showing
up
enough.
in the
class
next few
kit
months.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the next few months, which is exciting. And then we have Kraken, who wants to know about inventory management. Will there be an in-game tool for keeping track of where you store your items? So for instance, like if I have items in my stash or in my freehold versus like in a bag or at a bank, like is there one place I can look and be like search to find where I have the item so I know where to find it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is just a user experience that we don't want to make cumbersome, right? We want
Okay.
you to know where the things are, and then the meaningful aspect of that thing is traveling to those locations to access some of those things,
Yep.
particularly as it relates to materials and raw gatherables. That's the important thing. One thing that we are absolutely including is when you're within a node or an economic region, when you're within the node, you are at, let's say you go to a crafting station, you have access at that crafting station to pull from your personal storage and warehouse storage.
Oh, beautiful.
and you don't have to do the run back and forth constantly that all of us are
Beautiful,
accustomed to in
beautiful.
games where,
Good.
damn, I forgot the 4 petal leaves that I needed to make this, oil or
Yep.
something. I need to run back to the warehouse, grab the
Quality
thing,
of
run back
life.
to the workbench, and start the thing. That is something that is what's the word?
Cumbersome.
No, what is it?
Time
Ease of,
consuming.
yeah, but
I don't
can't
know.
think. My mind
Just
is broken
tedious.
this morning. Yeah, it's tedious, but it's an
Quality
ease
of
of
life.
Quality of life.
thank you. It is a quality of life feature that I think
Just
is important.
say words at him until you.
Yes,
it's the one.
that's where I was going. My mind is, like I said, it's been a long week.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep,
I'm
that's
not,
actually great.
Doubting that. And I think that on the inventory management side, just in general, we're going to have a lot of UI customization options for you all. So I know that
Yeah,
that is a question. We don't want to allow add-ons. So if there's things you want and features
Good.
you want, our goal
Good.
is to implement those features.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah,
Fuck the
especially
add-ons.
when, we were talking a little bit about user experience and UI a second ago, and part of that is really coming to life with what the UI team has been doing at the studio. And boy, is our UI team kicking butt!
So
I can't
good.
wait to show you guys what they have in store for you here with the new UI rollout. But part of that is, of course, um, providing as much customization option as possible to the user. I know that bleeds a little bit into the add-on world, but I think it's you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear because people were like talking about it in chat. There's a lot of new people joining us, so welcome, new folks. Next up, we have Renoni Siponi, who wants to know about monster coins. During monster coin events, will the hate list for NPCs restrict or affect the buildings players can target and disable? This is a very specific question.
Will the hate lists? I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Will the hate lists for NPCs restrict or affect the buildings players can target and disable for monster coin events?
Interesting.
It's a very specific question that I'm uncertain.
So I'm not sure I'm not sure the correlation between the hate list of the NPCs and the objectives of the event. But it is important to note that when events occur, there are very prescribed and specific number of objectives that can be targeted, right? You aren't streamlined into one particular. You have an option in front of you to select from, but those aren't affected by any type of hate list that might be incurred from NPCs. So when you're playing as a monster from the monster coin use as part of an NPC event that might be targeting a node or some other open world objective or POI or dungeon, you get to participate as a monster, and your focus is completing objectives that have already been prescribed as part of the event. And that's
So for instance, like if you are part of a monster coin event that is attacking a node and you're specifically to take down a specific building.
Yeah, like let's just workshop it. Let's say, for example, you have an event that is the predicate for this event kicking off was that a raid boss was killed in a nearby dungeon. And it was killed for the 50th time, or it was killed by some particular storyline end, or whatever the predicate system is in the world state to say, hey, kick this event off. Well, when that event kicks off, a number of spawners activate around the node, and NPCs start moving towards a node. The node is notified, like, hey, there's something happening here. You guys should put up your defenses, focus on this thing. And those with monster coins who are within the area and are not a citizen of the node or an affiliated node can choose to activate their monster coin to become one of the monster types that exist within that event. And that event has a number of targets. And let's say for this particular story arc, the thing was we need to find, artifacts and better weapons in order to defeat these bosses at the bottom of this dungeon. And a lot of players went through that process. They found those weapons and whatnot. Well, those things might be stored in 3 buildings that exist within the node. They might be stored within the armory. They might be stored within the barracks. And they might be stored at a workshop that has access to a workbench that they've chosen to build. And that could also potentially serve as a predicate. And when you become the monster, those are your 3 objectives. And you don't need to destroy all 3. You potentially just need to destroy 1, or you destroy as many as you can if it's a time-selected event. And you might have targets that are NPC-related as well, such as the blacksmith that's at the workbench, or the captain of the guard who's at the barracks, or whatever who's at the armory, right?
and you get to go in and you get to kill other players potentially during this who are helping to defend the city, and you can also make it to the objectives and potentially help in destroying the building or killing the NPCs. That is the type of objectives that would exist within a monster coin system for an event.
Okay.
All right. So there will be some semblance of restriction to answer their question.
Yes, correct. It's
depending on
defined
what the
by
event is. Yeah.
Yes.
The next question is from Lashing, and they want to know about AI behavior. Will mobs be able to buff each other up when grouped up, like an NPC bard buffing its allies?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There are
If they- if
social
they-
AI
Okay.
systems.
If they want to.
Yeah, it's important to note that our AI system that Russ and Chong have been working on is extremely versatile. And it also provides the capability of having a scoring system when it comes to the behaviors that the monster is going to utilize, and it can do some of those behaviors in parallel depending on how that scoring system comes out. And part of the interaction that we want to have existing between groups of AI or groups of monsters is the ability to support other monster types or classes that might be a part of that social group. Not just from a social aggro perspective, but from a social support perspective as well. That is an important component of the AI system, absolutely.
And our final question is regarding leveling up, and this is from Min0. With leveling set to take a while, will each level have a reward attached to it, such as learning an ability, a talent point, or perhaps class quests, etc.? Or will there be levels where you don't get something?
Yeah.
No, I think I mean, you're gonna get something for each level. There are gonna be some levels that are more monumentous in your progression than other levels. But I don't like the drought between leveling process where you get nothing for a level. I think that's anticlimactic. I think it is not indicative of a good reward system or a good progression system. I think you can emphasize some levels more than others, and that's a great way to do progression. But I think ultimately that you should see a reward for your progress or effort spent at a granular level. And that's something that's quantitative and compels you to continue progressing.
Yeah, of course. We want to keep you wanting to level up.
Yep.
And
of course.
that is going to wrap things up for our July development update. We hope that you all enjoyed it.
Certainly
We got
did.
a little something a little extra than what we had originally planned, but of course we will have some feedback threads up. Please head on over to our World Map Discovery Dev Discussion. We would like to kind of start putting that report together, so if you have thoughts, please go over there and pop them over there. And of course we'll have a feedback thread up for the desert biome, Empyrean, Renkai, and now the newly revealed Tulnar as well. So please provide your feedback, and we'll be putting those reports together for our teams. And as a reminder, the Thunder at the Gate cosmetics will be swapping over on August 10th at 11 a.m. And we will see you all next month for another dev update. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Stephen for his time. It's very valuable. And of course, stay safe and healthy. And if you are watching this live, we will have this video over on our YouTube channel, so you can relive the action. And of course, if you're following us here on Twitch, it will be up immediately once we close this down. And don't forget, for the YouTube video, if you go over to a dev discussion and you subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a comment, your comment could be spotlighted and answered or mentioned if you leave us a question or comment. And of course, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all the things. We're there. We post almost daily for you. We love interacting with you all, and we always ask you a lot of feedback and thoughts over there. So if you have any, please head on over there and interact with us and have fun. We also have a Discord where we chat all the time. Vaknar and Roshan are always in there interacting with folks, our forums as well. So come hang out with us. We're excited for you to join our journey, and we will see you next month as we show some more progression for Ashes of Creation.
Yay! Have an awesome weekend, everyone.
All right. Beautiful. I can't wait. And yeah, that does it for this React, guys. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one, yeah? Peace, be safe, and be cozy.